Hey everyone, my name is Chris with Clutter Reduction Junk Removal in Southeast Florida. We're doing a series of videos to help people who are just starting off in the junk removal industry. Whether you were brand new to this or you've been doing it for a couple of months, we're kind of going over the basics, and today's video is going to be about networking. And within networking, there might be a couple of marketing tips in there just to help guide you to who to talk to help you get more business. So we hope you enjoy this video, and if you do, be sure to like it, share it with others you know who are looking to get into junk removal, whether it's as a side hustle or an entrepreneurship, and be sure to subscribe to see us get jobs done on a daily basis, talk about moving tips so you can move stuff out of the house without causing damage, and of course, an occasional tip video like this to help you tackle your basics with a little bit more efficiency. So stay tuned. So getting into networking, this is something that we've been doing for a while. Now, I think with networking, most people just automatically assume of like a BNI group or like a very specific group of people meet and talk. That is networking groups, but networking in general is just simply connecting yourself with other people who can utilize your business. And that's what we're going to talk about. So the first thing is to try to partner yourself with realtors and real estate agents and property managers, because they constantly need junk removal when they have listings for buying and selling, whether it's a clean out, a foreclosure, or hoarder house, or an estate sale. Junk removal is typically right there with it, and that's something they need done in a timely manner and something that can be done to its full capacity to make sure nothing is left behind. And when you're doing this, make sure you're telling them that we can get this done as soon as possible. You want to try to be quick with this because they need it done quickly as well so they can move on to other services. So make sure you offer a quick turnaround, leave some business cards and flyers and a referral sheet whenever you go to these different places to market to them. You want to be their go-to person, and they will refer you out to other real estate agents, which can be a huge plus for you because this is literally their job. Like realtors, make sure you can try to connect with some property managers and landlords. A lot of times they have a lot of high-end turnover with their tenants, where maybe they leave behind some furniture, or maybe they trash the place, unfortunately, or they have an eviction. All these situations typically need junk removal. A lot of landlords and property managers aren't going to do them themselves. And with property managers who maybe foresee multiple places, that may be a lot of repetitive business for you. So definitely something you want to look into. Now, if you're a junk removal company that is okay with taking debris, like construction debris, tile, concrete, flooring, drywall, wood, the list goes on, you may want to connect yourself with some contractors and local renovation crews. There's a good chance they're probably going to have dumpsters and they may have their own trailers, but maybe they're in a situation where it's tight accessibility, they're on a time crunch, or maybe their guys called out and they don't have the labor to sit there and load up all the debris while they're currently trying to work on a house. That may be a good opportunity for you. Or if you offer trailer rentals, that's a great opportunity. So something to keep in mind. We've even gone to the point where we don't offer trailer rentals, and I'm not going to haul off a bunch of concrete, but what we do instead is we'll do junk labor. I'll just go there, and as our guys are working on the house doing everything, I'm removing the junk from the house and putting it in their trailer or their dumpster. So that way their guys can focus on what they're paid to do, which is to redo the house. I can go there and just provide labor. So there's always different ways that you can get jobs done, even if you don't fully do what they need. Something else that you can do that we've actually really built up a relationship with a few people this year is people who focus on estate cleanouts and senior transitions. If you've been watching us for a while, we work in a lot of senior living facilities. Don't know how exactly we got into it, but it's really become a large percentage of our jobs. And through that, we've met a lot of senior transition specialists who will go to a client's house, they'll help them pack everything up, sort through stuff, they'll get rid of what they don't want, which is where we come in, and then they have somebody move them and unpack and get organized, and they take care of them going forward. That's a senior transition specialist. Google that, reach out to those people and say, hey, we do junk removal. I guarantee you, you're bound to find somebody who will use your services. They like people who are professional, who can be courteous and who could be friendly when they're at these places. You don't want to come off as an ass. You know, you want somebody who can go in and take care of stuff with that emotional side, because it's going to be emotional for the parents, it's going to be emotional for the kids, and they want somebody who's going to be able to work well with them. But I guarantee you, you're going to get a lot of jobs, especially if you're in a high populated area or in an area where retirement is really high, because that means that you're going to have a lot of people doing this. Kind of going back to the core concept of networking, joining your local business groups, whether that's a BNI Or you can go on Eventbrite and look up local groups that are meeting for coffee on every Tuesday morning, or they meet for happy hour on Thursday nights, or someone who meets us for a luncheon on Wednesdays at 12. Find these groups, try to be consistent with them. They don't all cost money, but some of them do. Find out which ones you have value in. We like to look at groups to see the people that are in them, what kind of jobs do they do, and is that gonna kind of intertwine with us? If it does, we'll join it, because then we know that we have more likelihood of working with them. Versus if it's a group full of insurance agents and maybe a couple of attorneys here and there and people who do digital marketing, that's really not gonna cater to what we need for networking purposes. It'd be great to know, but we would rather work with people who are like home service based, like inspectors and plumbers and painters, because they're more likely to run into situations where junk removal is a little bit more needed, even just for them to get their job done. And they're talking to customers on a more home-based situation. It's a little easier to refer us out without just coming off as salesy. You can also talk to dumpster rental companies. Sometimes dumpster rental companies will drop off a dumpster, the client goes to load it all up, and then they decide, we don't really want it anymore, or we don't want to do this work anymore. They can say, well, we don't have employees to send you, but here's a junk removal company who will come out and load it for you. And if there's anything that they can't fit in there, they can haul it off afterwards. So there's always a workaround to it. But that can be a great way to kind of help with the clients who think they want to do DIY and then realize very quickly, hey, this kind of sucks. That's why you should hire out. So check out your local dumpster rental companies. Another great place, and this comes up on an almost daily basis, is storage facilities. Go by, talk to the manager, especially if you're in like a high volume area or retirement area like we talked about. There's a good chance there's a lot of storages that are at maximum occupancy that are charging $500-$600 a month, that people have stuff in, they don't even remember what it is, but they have it there, and maybe they decide, hey, prices just increased because inflation went up. This sucks, I don't want to pay $700 a month for that junk. Let's go get it cleared out. One-time fee versus the next 12 months. But that's a great tool for junk removal, because not only is it kind of kept in a single little vessel all piled together, but sometimes you have easy access. You will always have an elevator, and it's a lot easier to kind of gauge the volume of it because you already know the square footage of the area. If it's a 10 by 10 storage unit with an 8-foot ceiling, I already know if that thing is full floor to ceiling, it's gonna take a truck and 3/4 of my load. So I already know how to price it. Or if it's only half of it, I can just tell a customer, expect one load. And that makes it really easy for giving estimates. But you can just go by, talk to your managers there, drop off some cards, drop off some flyers. They'll give it out to customers when they come in and say, hey, I need to close up shop. You know, how can I get rid of this stuff? Do you guys have a dumpster on site? No. What do I do? Call Clutter Reduction? Okay, that's all it is. You can also talk to moving companies that are local. I wouldn't really go to the franchises because they're probably not going to call you, but find some local family-owned moving companies who don't deal with junk removal. Most of them do because it's pretty easy, but a lot of them don't touch it. They don't care, they won't touch it. Those are your good people to go to. So a moving company, I used to be a mover. Junk removal was like second nature. It was like the twin, the cousin of moving. If moving was there, junk removal was right behind it. So talk to your local companies and just say, hey, if you guys have a situation where you're doing a move and customer says, I don't want to take this, I don't want to take that, we're going to get rid of it. Do you guys take it? Say no, send it our way. I'll send you a referral or something to kind of help give an incentive. You can also visit your local thrift stores and donation centers and recycling centers. Build a relationship with them because number one, you're probably going to be using them for yourself, and it'd be nice to be on a first name basis with them so they know who you are. They may be less likely to turn you down even if they're a little full. But you can also find out what they don't take, and then you can offer to leave your card with them, because maybe a customer goes over with a U-Haul worth of stuff and says, hey, I have all this stuff here and I have more at the house. And maybe Goodwill says, well, we'll take all the small stuff. We don't have room for the big stuff though. That might be a tricky situation for the customer, and they might say, oh, well, who do I call to get rid of all this big furniture? Well, here's a company that we know that comes here and donates stuff. They'll take away the big stuff. So it's a long shot because a lot of places usually have like setups already, but it's worth a shot. Either way, you want to try to get to know the managers of the places you're going to be going to, so that way you don't get turned away as likely and you understand exactly what they do and don't want. The next thing is a form of social media that a lot of you guys probably aren't on. You may have one, but you probably don't use it. I know I don't use mine as much as I should, and that is a LinkedIn. LinkedIn is like a professional business side of Facebook. where all of your friends are going to be other people who own businesses or management positions of different companies. It's kind of like your online live feed resume. But it can be a great way to connect with local business owners who own storefronts and restaurants. You can connect with them and say, hey, if you guys ever need junk removal, here's a few examples of what I could think of. This is something that we could offer. We're quick, we're efficient. We'll work with you on the pricing if it needs to be a repetitive thing. You can reach out to realtors, contractors, and any other service providers and kind of build that network with them. You can also post success stories and throw out some pictures and maybe some tips if people are moving soon. Say, hey, here's a couple things that you can do prior to help save you money, which would be junk removal. You can still utilize it like a Facebook, but just keep it professional because that's kind of what the whole basis is around. Now, when we talk about networking, is typically a two-way street for the most part, especially in groups. So if you want referrals, sometimes you gotta give referrals. So as you meet contractors and painters on jobs, whether you're doing jobs for their client or maybe they're working on the house and you're there doing junk removal, go over and talk to them and say, hey, my name is Chris with Clutter Reduction Junk Removal. I'm getting rid of all this stuff here. Looks like you guys are doing beautiful work. Do you have a business card? I would love to refer you out in the future if another client needs a painter, if another client needs a plumber, electrician. Build a relationship. Now you have a contractor on your side. Maybe you refer him out to a job. He gets that job. It's a couple $1,000 job. Cool. He reaches out. Hey, Chris, I got that job. Appreciate you referring me. I'll keep you in mind for the future. Maybe he sends me a job. Hey, we're doing this house paint job, but the lady needs to get rid of all the crap in her house before we do it. Is that something you can handle? Absolutely. And just like that, you give a referral, you get a referral. It's not always going to be the same situation. You may not be able to give out as many referrals as you receive because maybe they're just in that situation more often. But it helps to be able to give out to receive. Something else that I highly encourage that we always do is to make sure that you follow up with people. Whether they called to inquire about something and maybe you didn't hear from them, follow up with them. Or if you did a job for them in the past, follow up with them and see how things are going. If you know a client is moving, if they're staying somewhat local to you, you can call them a week later and say, hey, how was your move? Do you need anything kind of taken out afterwards after you've unpacked? Or if you talk to a contractor and say, hey, I referred you to Susan last week. Did you end up doing that job? No? All right, next time. Yes? Awesome. How did it go? You want to keep that engagement going so that way you're more likely to be remembered in the future. Because if you just give your card out and you just never see that person again, that card's probably in the trash. Just being honest, it's probably gone. They probably dropped that thing a week later, or they saved your number and was like, who the hell is this guy? Deleted it. So keep in touch with people. You don't have to call them every week, but it's good to at least once a month, just to stay in touch. You can add them on Facebook too. You can comment and say, hey, you guys did a great job on that. And then the last thing is to always carry business cards or a QR code. If you're all digital and fancy, you can keep QR codes with you or the little dot card or whatever, digital cards. But always have a card on you if a customer asks you want to have something with you. Keep it in your wallet, keep it in your truck, keep it with your work gear. Make it easy for people to be able to contact you by taking your information home with them. If a customer comes up to me in Home Depot and says, hey, do you have a business card? I'm not gonna say, no, don't worry about it. Here, I'll just give you my phone number. Just give them a business card. All right, they're so damn cheap. Let me show you something. See this box here? 1,000 business cards. Use e-marketing. $38, free shipping. Link in the description. Family-based, Texas. They price match. They're affordable, easy to design. There's no reason you shouldn't have business cards with you. You know how long it's gonna take me to give out 1,000 business cards? Long enough, but I always have them. We always keep a stack in the truck. I always have some in my wallet. Tanya always has some in her purse. Everywhere we go, we leave behind a couple of cards. Cards everywhere. They're just little mini promotional items. You just pop up, but they're cheap enough that if people say, toss, it's not a big hit to you. So those are some marketing tips. Hopefully they helped. If you have any you want to offer to other people that you've done yourself, comment down below for them to see. Otherwise, I hope that gave you guys some ideas. And our next video, we'll be talking about tools and equipment. If you want to know about pricing, check out the last couple. We also made one about marketing. These are all just going to be the basics for getting into junk removal. So we hope that this makes things a little bit easier. I know when I first started out, I was all over Google and Reddit. I wasn't even on YouTube too much. Reddit and Google, going back and forth, along with my experience from the moving companies. I was able to piece together enough to kind of get by, but I wish I knew what I did now, even just on the smallest of fractions, because it would have made things so much easier. So utilize the tools that you have, learn from others, take everything with a grain of salt, apply what works for you. This whole list I just gave you, you don't need to apply it all. It's going to kill you. Go through and figure, okay, I can do this, I can do that. That doesn't take much time. That's maybe a little bit out of my league. Focus on what works and then be consistent with it. That's the most important thing, is consistency long term. So that is it. Thanks for watching.